Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Black Clover. Last time around we had the Briar Maiden's Melancholy, where basically Asta ran into Captain Charlotte Rosalie. I believe that was her last name. I remember the Charlotte part. I'm pretty sure that was it. But the captain of the Blue Roses? Yes. I think that's it. I don't fully remember. It ran into Captain Charlotte, let's just put it like that. And, she was just chilling out, looking beautiful as ever, which was attracting the attention of men, which she didn't like, and was having to teach them a lot of a lesson. And then Yami came over, and she was all flustered because the guy that she has a crush on was seeing her in beautiful dresses. And then Vanessa came over, suddenly got very competitive, and wanting to wanting to win over Yami. And so they had a competition. First they had a cosplay competition, and then they had a drinking competition, neither of which went very well for either of them. And then at the end, the Stars announcement thing? Yes, Stars announcement thing, very elegant title, was starting, and Yami and Charlotte are both late because all the captains are supposed to be there. So yeah, that was pretty much it. Goofy episode, but I don't know, I feel like we're in a goofy arc, and well, frankly, I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's pretty much where we are. Like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure. So let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Black Clover. Here we go. I mean, I don't know. I guess the thing is, you can't just take out the king, because there are two noble families, basically, that have claims to the throne. So, because you have this, which I think you guys told me that the king, because we saw him before, I think you guys told me that the king actually belongs to the Silva family. I think you guys told me that, but Augustus Kira Clover the 13th. That's a pretty good name. If only he lived up to it. It is also interesting, now that I'm thinking about it, that you have the king, whose name is Augustus, and the wizard king, whose name is Julius. I don't know. I'm sure you can make some connection to Rome. I don't know. You make some connection back to Julius Caesar and Augustus, but I don't know. By the way, something I noticed while editing last episode that I just didn't catch in the moment, but when Yami says, they show the backstory of Charlotte, and it's like, oh, she's being consumed by the vines and stuff, and Yami comes in and is like, oh, how are you going to compensate me? You knocked over my Italian noodles. I didn't clock it in the reaction, but when I was editing, I was like, wait a minute. Italian noodles? So Italy exists in Black Clover? It's the one thing that still exists, in this world? That's weird. I don't know. I'm sure it was just a little throwaway line that doesn't... I know it doesn't mean anything, but it's just a little funny thing. But okay. So, the Royal Knights. I am slightly conflicted on the Royal Knights idea. Mainly because, I want to tell you why, is because my shonen fears now reside within the Royal Knights. Because what this means to me, just not sort of at face value, obviously, how it turns out is how it turns out, and you guys already know. And if it turns out differently from the way I think, then, you're just going to be sitting there and chuckling to yourself as I talk. But my fear is that this is going to make certain characters less important, I remember way back when at the start of this show, I said I really like Noelle, and I don't want Noelle to become another Uraraka, you know? And it doesn't just apply to Uraraka, but, like, every side character in My Hero Academia, they got put to the wayside if they weren't Bakugo or Todoroki. That was it. Like, the rest of Class A, pointless after a certain point, you know? After a certain time, they were just not a part of the story. The same thing happened in Jujutsu Kaisen. I will at least give credit to Attack on Titan that didn't actually happen, but still. But I don't... I said that. I was like, I don't want that to be... You know, we started so strong with Noelle. I really like Noelle as a character, you know? I really like her. I think her story is very interesting. And I don't want her to be put to the wayside for something else, you know? Basically, what my fear is that this will sort of go the shonen anime route of... We introduced a bunch of characters at the beginning, but we're going to introduce so many more characters as the show goes on that by the end, it's really just a handful of main characters, like 2 of the original main characters, and then nothing else, you know? Like, I don't want to, you know, get into this, you know, as we go and defeat the Eye of the Midnight Sun, I don't want it to just be Asta and Yuno and then no one else, basically. And I mean, it's weird. It's certainly weird, because it's like, I don't think the show would fully go that route. But that's the thing, is the Royal Knights makes it sound like we need to cut a lot of characters to keep this down, you know? That's what it sounds like to me, where it's like, I feel like I'm getting into the mind of a writer or maybe even their editor, instead of watching a story progress naturally. And that's my biggest fear about this now, is I don't know. Because, especially too, because the past couple arcs, you know, I mean, just pretty much this entire show, you know, you get very endeared to the Black Bulls, you know? You get endeared to Magna, then Luck, then you get Ghosh, then you get, then you even get Charmy and Gray and stuff. But then, you know, obviously in the Underwater Temple, the fact that our dream team to defeat Veto was Asta and Vanessa and Finral, you just kind of stop and you're just like, okay, I didn't expect the 2 of them to be, you know, the linchpins in Asta defeating Veto, but that's what it was, and it worked, and that carried over into the next arc, you know, that carried over into the next arc of having the 2 of them, you know, and Noelle at the Witch's Forest, but then you also introduce, you know, Fanzel and Domina and Mariella and stuff, so it still kind of works out, but it's like I don't know. That's what this sounds like. Where it sounds like we're going to have the Royal Knight Squad, which is going to be Asta and Yuno and a select number of other characters, who are all going to go and defeat defeat the Eye of the Midnight Sun, if I can speak correctly. They're all gonna go and defeat the Eye of the Midnight Sun, and we're just gonna go and, you know, we're gonna see a quick scene of the other characters later. The rest of the Black Bulls, they're all gonna be somewhere else, you know? And that is a fear. That is a fear. Now, that also does serve a purpose, because if you have like 100 characters, how do you write them all in a way that works and they all have something meaningful to do within the story? It's difficult, you know? It's very, very difficult, because it's like, how do you write every member of the Black Bulls, every member of the Crimson Lions, every member of Golden Dawn, every member of, you know, the Silver Eagles, every one of the Green Praying Mantises, the Blue Roses, everybody. How do you get everybody in there? But I don't know. That's my biggest fear, though. That's my biggest fear. And even because, like, even in the Underwater Temple, it still felt like every one of the Black Bulls, minus Gordon, obviously, but every one of the Black Bulls had a moment that really worked, you know? Like, even, the characters are like, okay, well, you got Gauche and Gray and Charmy, and they're kind of doing some silly stuff, but they still have a good moment. You have Magna and Luck not being able to defeat Veto whatsoever, but they still, went all out, and that was good. And it's just like, I don't know. That's kind of my biggest fear with this whole Royal Knights thing, is just like, all right, it's time to weed out a bunch of characters that we can't sustain anymore. I don't know. I hope it doesn't go that route, but I don't know. And again, it's like, I don't even need these characters to be doing a ton of stuff, in every battle. Like, you can just have them, exactly how they were in the Underwater Temple arc, where you have some people, Magna and Luck, they fought Veto until Asta and the gang got there. You had Gauche and Gray and Charmy fighting a couple of the other Midnight Sun stooges and stuff. It's just like that. It all worked, I don't know, man. I don't know. But either way, it'll be interesting. Obviously, this is where we're going to be getting the tournament to see who is the strongest among the Magic Knights, which is interesting. It's a very interesting thing to see. So I'm looking forward to that, definitely. Makes me curious how long it's going to be, because, like, how long have we been on this arc? Pretty much since, well, we got the new OP in episode 65, so that's 6 episodes from 65 to 70. So 6 episodes, and we've got, most likely 6 more, just about six, maybe 7 more. So I don't know. Honestly, it seems like a bit of a short time for a tournament arc, but we're not doing a huge tournament arc. We're just doing a thing to determine who can join the Royal Knights. So I don't know. But yeah, is the king going to be judging this? Oh, Asta nearly got him and executed for that. It's just the thing of, like, nobody likes this guy, Because even when Asta is, like, saying all this stuff, like, all the Magic Knight captains are kind of laughing, like, yeah, this kid's right. Why do we serve this guy? He sucks, We serve this guy because they said we serve him, because he was born that way, because it's Maybelline, I don't know. But and even just, like, the little girl, it's like, I want the Wizard King to be the real king. And just everyone, it's not a thing of, like, oh, she's gonna get executed, but just like, everyone in the crowd is just like, don't say that out loud. You're gonna get in trouble. And it's just like, I don't know. And now, but that's the thing. It's like, we can't just get rid of the monarchy completely. We can't get rid of the monarchy completely because obviously there are two noble families, two royal families, basically, the Silvas and the Vermilions, that both would have claims to the throne, basically. So they wouldn't want to lose that, especially after losing not only to Golden Dawn, which is not a noble, that's such a great point, that it's just like, that is not a noble squad, basically. At the very least, William, he is not noble, He is not a noble. He was a poor kid, but he rose to be, pretty much next in line to be the Wizard King. So, but then the fact that the two noble royal families also lost to the Black Bulls of all of them. It's just like, that's embarrassing. That's incredibly embarrassing. So, oh, good grief. But the Black Bulls, they took second place. Isn't that amazing? And it's so funny because it's like, not only does it mean they have done so well, but also means there's a new last place. So, whatever the kid's name is, I already forgot. Rill, that was it. Rill the artist. He is now in last place because he sucks. He doesn't do anything. But yeah, and we also have 2 new captains. Kaiser, it was like Granovka or something. the new captain of the Purple Orcas, and this is just going off of how I'm seeing it written out. Marioliona Vermilion. I cannot be saying that right, can I? These freaking Vermilions in their names. You've got her, you've got Fuegoleon Vermilion, Leopold Vermilion, and then Mimosa Vermilion. It's just like, these Vermilions, their names are crazy. Meanwhile, the Silvas all seem to have, like, the same name, basically. Which is weird, because it's like, honestly, it sounds like they named Noelle first, and then they decided to name the others. Granted, I don't remember her the other two siblings' names, but you have Nozelle, and it's just like, that sounds like you came up with that after Noelle, which is entirely possible that the author came up with that. Was like, oh, what would her older brother's name be? Got to be something similar. Nozelle Silva instead of Noelle. So I don't know. And her two, middle siblings are so pissed they lost to the squad that she's in. So, well, if you did your job and you weren't a douchebag, I mean, hey, it seems like we ended Prejudice, It seems like we ended Prejudice. I mean, the entirety of, like, the common folk, basically, like, they seem to be just happy that, it's like, oh, two peasants rose to be, the two new stars of the Magic Knights, Yuno and Asta have such power. And they all seem to be happy with that. And it's like, oh, yes, let us not, differentiate by class. Let us all work together to face our enemies, And it's like, yeah, let's do that. But I don't think those, especially, like, I don't know, they didn't really show. I think Nozelle is more frustrated that he lost to the Black Bulls than he did to losing to Noelle. Like, I don't think he cares that much about Noelle. I don't think he thinks about her that much. Now, granted, he did have that line in one of those flashbacks of like, oh, why did you live and our mother died, But honestly, I think for the most part, he doesn't care, Like, it's like we've said before. It's like he just doesn't acknowledge that she exists because she's so weak, according to him. Whereas the two middle siblings, they're just the scum of the earth, The two of them make me want to go all French. I'm just saying. So, I don't know, man. I don't know, but yeah. So I guess we've got a tournament coming up. I guess we should go get to that. So that is basically it. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Black Clover reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.